Welcome to Brookings. My name is Bruce Jones. I'm the Vice President and the Director for the Foreign Policy Program here at Brookings. And thank you for joining us today for an important and I think very timely discussion on the Chinese economy. As many of you know, this year marks the 40th anniversary of China's Reform and Open Up policy initiated by Deng Xiaoping in 1978. Over that 40-year period, China's economy has grown to be the second largest economy in the world and one of the most dynamic. Now, Chinese leaders are transitioning the country's economic growth away from manufacturing and towards services, all while dealing with an overheated housing market and a mountain of corporate debt. China is also scaling up its economic ambitions abroad. The Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, is an effort to connect China with near neighbors and far-flung countries by financing infrastructure projects across Eurasia and beyond. It's attracted both a great deal of support and some critique. Critics have raised concerns about the political purposes of BRI and its impact on recipient countries. What they have not done is offered serious alternatives. At the same time, China faces increasingly resolute calls from other countries, including the United States, to accelerate the long-promised opening of its economy to outside participation and investment. And indeed, just a few days ago, on April 10th, at the 17th Boao Forum, China's President Xi Jinping announced that he would, in fact, further expand China's opening up by promoting import growth and allowing greater foreign investment in China's service sector. President Trump applauded Xi's comments and markets reacted well, but business groups in both the United States and Europe are still cautious to see how these opening moves will play out. Of course, the backdrop is the threat of trade sanctions and tariffs by President Trump and reciprocal measures by China. To resolve differences in the U.S.-China economic relationship and to continue the deep cooperation that has at times occurred is going to require a careful diagnosis of the underlying problems, rejecting scaremongering and misunderstandings, and driving a deeper understanding of both the international and domestic challenges that stand in the way of long-term mutual goals. And this is important not only to the future of U.S.-China relations, but to the health of the world economy as a whole. And today's event is an invaluable chance to further American familiarity with Chinese economic perspectives and vice versa. And I'm very pleased that here at Brookings we're able to contribute to this work, both through the excellent work of scholars like David Dollar and Eswar Prasad and others, and the leadership of Cheng Li in the China Center here at Brookings. We're going to begin the program today with welcoming remarks from two very distinguished guests. The first is Zhu Yanli, Vice Chairman of the International Finance Forum. Mr. Zhu was also Vice Chairman of the China Insurance Regulatory Commission from 2005 to 2016. Following him will be Dr. Cheng Yong-ri, the Director of Asia and Pacific Department at the IMF. Christopher Jeffrey, the Editor-in-Chief of Central Banking Publications, will then introduce the IFF's 2018 China Report and the Belt and Road Initiative Survey, both of which we are launching here today, and we're delighted to do so. We'll also hear a keynote address from Dr. Zheng Jiajie, President of China Development Bank, which is playing a key role in the Belt and Road Initiative. We're honored to have him join us here today. He's been president of the CDB since 2012, having begun his career in China's banking industry in 1977, a year before China's opening up. I can't think of a better individual to share his expertise and his candid views on the development of BRI and China's economy. And finally, we'll hear from two panels of experts from both the United States and China to dive deeper into an analysis of the Belt and Road Initiative and China's economic outlook, including the prospects for further growth. Now, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Zhao.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And thank you very much for the Vice Chairman for Brookings' kind introductions about China's economy and future of China relations between China and the United States, especially on trade side. So today we are not talking about trade issues between the two countries, but what we want to talk about is the Belt and Road Initiative launched in 2013. In the year of 2018, exactly 5 years since the Belt and Road Initiative issued. And also the year of 2018 marks the 40th anniversary of China global re-emergencies of 5th anniversary of President Xi Jinping's visionary initiative, One Belt One Road initiative. The IFF, in collaboration with the central bank and central bank magazines, conducted inaugural Belt and Road survey, prudently selected central banks from about 13 representative countries, regions as a respondent. Therefore, the China report of this year represents not only profound discussions, conclusions of crucial and also controversial issues in the fields of China economy development and reform in the past years, but also the major focuses on the Belt and Road Initiative. China has remained fastest growth economy with efforts to transform its growth model while committing itself to take leadership roles to support of international opportunities for the developing countries. And what we learned from China's own rapid economic growth and also rising of China as an economic power for the developing countries to learn from, as well as other secured access to Chinese investments and improved infrastructures and connectivities, especially on Belt and Road Initiative. China's signature, what we call the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative, is to gain from the improved infrastructure connectivities and once-in-a-generation opportunities to raise economic prosperity of billions of people, and also is converged with World Bank model. That's called our dream is to have the world free of poverty. According to a Belt Road survey, most respondents expect the Belt Road Initiative bolster their growth and support China-led multilateral institutions such as New Development Bank and Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank. Today, we also have China Development Bank. The president, Zheng, is also a good friend of mine. Join the meetings later on. He will introduce about what the latest the bank is doing and China is doing as well. China report also has been possible with the support and the cooperation of individuals, organizations who agreed to take part, who had a great honor to invite policymakers, financial leaders, experts, scholars to present their inside opinions in the report. Thereby, they would like to tell something truth about it. I myself express gratitude to supporting the institutions, including National Development Bank and the Reform Commission, Ministry of Finance and the People's Bank of China, People's Security Regulatory Commission, China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission, and the China Development Bank, Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, and the New Development Bank, and the Bank of China. All these banks did very useful things for the successful issuance of this China Report 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, as the opening economy of World Forum for Asia on the 10th of April, some of the people from the floor attended such important forum. During the forum, President Xi Jinping also precisely stated in his keynote speech that China will not close its door, but will open wider and also deepen reform, opening up policies. China aims to make the Belt and Road broadcasting platforms for the international cooperations in keeping with the trend of economic globalization and the greater benefits of our people. Meanwhile, the President Xi also announced there are 4 major steps in his speech to make China economy more open than ever, including sustainably and also liberalize its market success, and also for foreign companies to get access into Chinese market in the certain area where they are interested in their business like. China is demonstrating more positive attitude towards opening up that will introduce more economic landscape. So that landscape will be shared by the people of the mankind, shared people of all of the world, including United States. I firmly believe that with the support and joint efforts from all of you, China Report International Finance Forum will further extend its global influences and play more significant roles to promote China's economic strategy and reform, and advance the construction of Belt and Road Initiative in the spirit of extensive consultations, joint contributions, and shared benefits for mankind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce, and thank you, Vice Chairman Joe, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great pleasure to co-host this event to launch IFF's China Report 2018 with Brookings and IFF. And thanks you for to join this event, especially our colleagues from the IFF and also senior Chinese officials, including President Zheng of China Development Bank, and my great gratitude for Mr. David Dollar and Joanna at IFF in preparing this event together with our IMF colleagues here, Marcus and others. As you know, this week is IMF World Bank 2018 spring meetings, and many officials, delegations, and investors all around the world join together here in DC. As you can easily imagine, even though Vice Chairman Joe mentioned that it's not a good time to talk about U.S.-China trade tension, I'm afraid that this issue will dominate this week. I don't know, as a director of Asia Pacific Department at IMF, whether this is a good news or bad news, but looks like we're going to discuss a lot about China, like 2 years ago in our Peru annual meeting, a lot about China, and especially trade issues and multilateralism in this week in Washington, D.C. However, I think we should not forget a little bit more longer and more bigger pictures when we discuss this trade issue, which is China's economic and social achievement and transformation in the last couple of decades. As Vice Chairman Joe mentioned, and also I just came from the Boao Forum, and President Xi Jinping really emphasized that this year is the 40th anniversary of China's economic reform and opening up. And the world has witnessed how fast and how important progress has made in China in lifting poverty and modernizing its economy in the last 4 decades. If you just focus on the last decade and just growth side, I think China is moving from the quantity of growth to quality of growth, but simply looking at the growth rate in the last couple of decades, and especially last decades, Asia has accounted for about 2/3 of the global growth, and of which more than half is accounted by China. So in some sense, 1/3 of global growth in the last decade has been led and driven by a single country, China. This China's proven record is an evidence that market opening, trade, and reform and infrastructure investment has brought great benefit not only to China but to the global world globally in the world. So we should not forget this lesson when we discuss about this trade tension discussion in this week, because this really shows that how trade is important, how infrastructure is important, how the multilateralism is important, how cooperation is important. And without that, I think not only China but all global world can lose. In this context, I believe that the China Report 2018 from IFF is a very timely publication because it covers both backward-looking and forward-looking issues that we should be aware of in understanding Chinese economy. And I hope that this report can be a basis of our productive discussion in the next 2 sessions. And this is the IMF Brookings first collaboration, as long as I know, with the IFF. And I hope that this collaboration continues in the future also to discuss various issues. Especially my personal interest, you talk about Belt and Road Initiative, and in Asia we need lots of infrastructure, and Belt and Road Initiative is a good opportunity and for IMF to collaborate with Chinese authority to make it successful, because it has Belt and Road Initiative can have many benefits. At the same time, many risks is involved, and for us, infrastructure investment is not just for the hardware. In order to make hardware infrastructure is important, software is very important, such as debt management and medium-term public finance management tool. In those areas where the IMF can contribute to make China's Belt and Road Initiative successful, to the benefit of China as well as the global world. And so we are very much interested in this topic too. In particular, when I look at the last part of the IFF's this China report, I saw that there is lots of discussion about Bay Area development. This is one part of the infrastructure investment, the role of IFF in leading this Bay Area development. Will be very interesting to see how it will going to progress, and best wishes for this big project from IFF. So I do not want to take a long time because I want to we have a really distinguished panelist. This will be a great opportunity, learning opportunity for us, and to discuss important issues with the Chinese authorities. Let me thanks again for all of you to join again, and David Dollar and Johanna to help us to organize this event. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos from Brookings.